Hey there, friends. Dave Paulides. This is the review for Skinwalker Ranch, Season 5, Episode 9. Yes, we are here. I just watched it. Angie and I sat there, commented. Huck kept trying to jump on my lap. It was chaotic. But here we go with my review. First of all, the show started off with a big Air Force jet flying by over the mesa. And Travis said it flew back and forth. And then they went back in time a couple of years ago. They had multi-helicopters flying over. Travis said there's no military base anywhere near the ranch. And then Travis commented, hey, are they under surveillance? Okay. I'm not sure why they even put it in. But here's my take on this, for what it's worth. If I was a pilot in the Air Force and we were flying within 20 miles of the ranch trying to go somewhere, I'd say, hey, let's divert over the ranch. Let's just take a look. Why not? I mean, I know a lot of military people find this show interesting, so why wouldn't they fly by? If I was in a private plane, would I fly by? Of course I would. So I don't see the big deal in it. Maybe I'm missing something. Then they went back to the drill site. I think this drill episode is going to haunt us all year. Again, they went back and they talked about in 2021, they found a dome-shaped object 400 feet long in the mesa. Kind of like a debris field. They went through that again. And they want to put a scanning device in each one of the boreholes and scan back and forth. And they'd have a spectrum analyzers on, checking to see what frequencies were on. And then the drill people put a beacon on top of the mesa, and from wherever that drill bit is, it transmits up to that beacon and tells them what level they're at. Well, then, and again, I have no idea why they did this. They went to another ranch 20 miles away called the 4-Star Ranch. And they showed a picture of a colt, new horse, that had been mutilated. And it's like the front side of the horse was taken out. Just this, it was skinned, and then the back of the horse was skinned. They didn't show anything in the facial area, and that's a key part about the cattle mutilation phenomena, around the lips, around the ears, and you didn't get to see close enough if that was done. But the owner said that the colt was in the middle of the corral. 1 minute, the next minute it wasn't alive. He also said that there were no tracks around the colt. That's a key point. And then they also had a cow that was alive. 2 hours later, it had a hole in its knee. The ranch manager said, oh, we found a cow with a hole in its ribs, and that matches the dire wolf. Well, remember, they also found something in the creek weeks ago that they've never talked about, but they made a big deal about it at the time. I kind of wish these guys would not make a big deal about something, low-key it, and then if it comes back at something, talk about it later. If not, don't bring it up. I think they try to make mountains out of molehills sometimes. Okay, then we went to our first commercial. They come back, and they're trying to complete one borehole into that mesa. They're going about 1 foot per minute, they said, and they're into a really hard substance. And instead of getting pushed up like they were the last time, this time the drill bit's getting pushed down into the mesa. So as though that there's an object there and they're hitting the side of it, and sometimes they're going up, sometimes they're going down, depending on the angle that they hit it at. They're about 180 feet in at this point. And then Travis starts getting a signal at 1.655 gigahertz at their outdoor monitoring station. They tried to figure out, according to their antennas on the ranch, it was somewhere near Homestead 2. And it was as the drill bit is hitting it, this 1.6 goes off. So because they have antennas on the ranch, Travis can go and kind of triangulate where this is at. So he figures out exactly where it's at with this antenna, and he's standing right under it. And him and Caleb are looking up, and they're not seeing anything. I kind of get frustrated at this point, because where is the infrared cameras at this point? Where's the high-speed cameras? I think these should be always deployed all around the ranch, 24/7. So you might miss something that it's there. They've been proving that in the past. So as they're under it, Travis says, okay, we're going to shoot two rockets into it. What a surprise. So they divert momentarily. They get the rockets. And then Travis says, well, is this the cone-shaped anomaly that's broadcasting this signal up in the sky? Because they can't see it. So the Dragon sets up a rocket. They shoot a rocket straight off directly into whatever's right above Travis. It goes straight up. Nothing seems to happen. Except that the transmission stops. So whatever it was didn't like that rocket going into it. Travis says, let's launch another one. So they launch another one. Right after that one's launched, 1.6 starts again. Travis says it's like this thing's playing peekaboo. Those were his words. And then, I gotta admit, this is pretty strange. They send a rocket up into the sky. Once the rocket reaches elevation, it deploys a parachute and it falls slowly to Earth. Well, as that second rocket goes up, parachute deploys, it starts coming down, and it stops. And Travis said it stopped 200 feet in the sky, and you could see it. And it's as though the parachute has air pushing up into it, but it's not moving. It's just stationary in the sky. Very odd. Travis said it was odd. Said he's never seen that. And then, suddenly, for no reason, it came down normally to the ground. The drill bit is getting pushed down still. The drillers say they're going to pull it out and put a new bit on. They got to pull it out 180 to 200 feet. Again, it takes time. And then when they pulled it out, all of the water that they lubricate the drill head with goes into this pit that they dug. Well, they drain the pit into a tank. They take the tank over to the side of the field. They empty the tank through a strainer to see what pieces might have come out of there. Eric said he was frustrated with the drill. They screened the sludge. The only thing they found is a little fleck of, it looks like some kind of metal. And when they put that next to a magnet, it reacted. Now they're on to their third commercial on the show. Tonight seemed like there was just a lot of commercials. And this was the third attempt to drill an 8-inch hole into the mesa. He said the team got a real early start, going 180 feet in, and then Eric, Travis, and the group were under their man-made tent out in the field monitoring on a spectrum analyzer. As they start drilling, they get a 919 megahertz signal. It came from several different directions. And then Travis said that those 919 megahertz signals are associated with surveillance channels. And he questioned if the military is dropping surveillance objects on the ranch on their flyovers. So as someone who knows something about this, when I was a private investigator, San Jose was one of the weird cities that allowed their police officers to hold a private investigator's license. So I would work for all kinds of companies, and people would want their offices scanned for surveillance equipment to see if someone's listening to them. So we'd go in there with this equipment and scan the room, and I think out of 50 times I did that, one time we found something odd. Well, you could do that in the field too. Wherever that is, that 919 megahertz is coming from, you could go and find it. They didn't say anything about that. The drill bit was hitting something very hard, and the cows were acting odd, were mooing, and some of the cows were coming towards the team. Now, as I've stated before, I haven't seen these cows. They're like hidden off to the side, or are they always there? I don't know. I mean, some people have said, oh, you know, we've seen them before, or they've seen them in other productions. Okay, well, I believe you. And then at that point, Eric says the spectrum analyzer fails. Well, we know a lot of electronics fail at the ranch. And then one of the oddest things I've ever seen is one of the camera crew guys says, hey, there's a cow over there acting odd. And the cow is spinning in a circle, like chasing its tail continually. And what I told Angie at the time, it reminds me of the behavior of when a deer or an elk has chronic wasting disease. They lose their brain function and they start acting extremely odd. And then Thomas said, hey, look, the eyes on that calf are completely white. Travis immediately chimes up and says, hey, that's microwave. It's caused by microwave poisoning. Then they go to another commercial. They get a closer look at the calf and its eyes are white. Travis says it's caused by microwaves. Travis tells people to be careful. And Travis goes out and stands where the cow was. And he takes out one of these real amateurish, cheap compasses, and it starts acting weird. And Travis said that the compass was 20 degrees off, but his meters didn't detect any microwave anywhere in the area. Now we go back to the drill site. We're going back and forth. They're trying to make this thing as interesting as they can. The drillers asked the team to come over. The drillers kept losing all communication with the drill head via the receiver. They are drilling blind. They were hoping the beacon would connect, but it wasn't. Now Thomas calls the owners of the cow, and they come on horseback to gather up the calf. And they also summon a female vet to look at that calf. The vet said, you could see the calf's eyes are white, and the vet said that the eyes ruptured from the inside. And she said there's no way that this calf can see out of those eyes right now. That was her opinion. And she said there had to be some heat inflicted on that cow somehow. And Travis said the microwave could do that, and they have a discussion, and she sort of agreed that that could have been it. She said something damaged its brain. All right. Like I said, chronic wasting disease is a disease of the brain. There was just an article that came out a couple days ago about Wyoming and about the deer herds in Wyoming, and how just in the last 6 to 9 months the herds are being decimated by chronic wasting disease. They don't understand why it is taking off as rapidly as it is right now. Just something related. Now, in years past, the crew talked about cows that had neurological issues. And Thomas and Travis said, well, while we were drilling into the mesa, something happened to that calf. Because it seemed one thing happened and then the other thing happened. And then Travis said, well, when you dig at the ranch, bad things happen. And that goes all the way back to the time where the ranch was owned before Bigelow bought it. And he was told never dig at the ranch because bad things happen. Never dig at the ranch. If you think way back to season 1 of the show, they brought out some big tractors and they were going to dig up the triangle zone. And then all of a sudden the big tractors didn't run. And that was the end of it. They never tried it again. I find that very odd. So the driller said that they need to pull the drill head out again. And Travis believes, and he said this at the end of the show, that our answers may be in that mesa. Or they could be above the triangle, or they could be above Homestead 2, or they could be looking at them every day and not even know that they're seeing them. Remember, the camera that they had up last week, 200 frames per second, were catching things that they wouldn't even see. Why isn't that camera going 24/7? Come on, folks. I'm not a genius, but that camera ought to be going all the time. I just had a conversation the other day about that camera, and the person I was talking to says, hey, Dave, we need to get one and set it up and start using one. I kind of agreed. I just haven't had time to figure out where we can get one. If Prometheus has one, everyone can get one. That's not a big deal. But if you think about 200 frames per second, and if you want a large frame camera to capture the best defined image possible, you're going to go through a lot of cards in a very short amount of time. And that's the name of that tune. But I wouldn't care about that. I would care more about getting the data firsthand. Now, I like to be careful about what I say, because I know how hard it is to get quality footage and produce something of value. When I produce a movie, I produce 3, Missing 411, Missing 411 The Hunted, and Missing 411 The UFO Connection, all available at Amazon. When I produce those, if I have 5 or 10 minutes of dead time, boring, repetitive garbage, I'm going to get fried on a review. So I challenge myself to make every minute of my content important. TV, cable TV, it's a different game. They don't really have any reviews. You can't really go anywhere and say, oh, that was a crappy show, or, was that a 2-star show or a 1-star show? There's nowhere really to do that. So they kind of get away with it. One thing that I really don't like that a lot of shows do is constantly repeat the same footage. They leave the last 30 seconds before a commercial with the same footage. They start after the commercial with the same 30 seconds. They do that on Oak Island, and they do it on the show. I don't like it. I think they're playing you for a fool. They're playing us for a fool by doing that. There's nothing valuable. There's nothing to gain. It's just a waste of airtime. For some reason, Prometheus has been doing that for years. Now, this show, I know, and I have sympathy for these guys. It's very hard to get quality content. It's very hard every week to do something other than to shoot rockets and to get some kind of reaction. I've stated before, I think that taking a balloon up over the top of the triangle area and dumping flour over the object, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool. Low risk. I think that That would be fun and inexpensive as well. Now, what they've tried to do with this show is they went off the ranch 20 miles away to talk about cattle or a horse mutilation and a colt and a cow that got mutilated. They didn't try to draw a straight path between there and the ranch and say, oh, you know, this happened here. It's been many, many years since a cow has been mutilated at the ranch. It was way back 15 years ago or more under the Bigelow realm. It hasn't happened recently. Cattle have died, but I couldn't say that they were mutilated. Now, one thing that Brandon Fugal said in an interview just within the last month, and I knew this from talking to Bigelow's team, is that when the ranch has something happen on it that causes you an internal reaction, scared, angry, those reactions drive what happens at the ranch. And I thought, Fugal talked about it. And he said, yeah, we've known that. So that kind of goes back to what I said several shows ago. Are they studying us? And are we too stupid to understand that? Is the entity there part of their project to study human beings on Earth? And when they fly away and do their things in other areas, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're studying, but are they watching the people at the ranch? They've got some very high-powered brainiacs there. Are they studying them? Because, you know, in my research in Missing 411, one of the subgroups of missing people is super brilliant people, super smart ones, physicists, MDs, etc. Well, they've got 2 physicists at the ranch. Yeah, Eric's a physicist, Travis is a physicist. Are they studying them? I don't know. And then, as I've stated before in videos on this channel, are we just that ant farm? You know, when you were a kid and you had an ant farm and you watched the ants crawl around inside and you're on the outside looking in and you're watching how they build tunnels and things. So are we the ants? And the entities are on the outside watching us. And whether, I know the religious people watching this are saying, well, Dave, come on, this is biblical and these are demons, and are the demons studying us? Think about it. If you believe that, are the demons looking at us and trying to control us, understand how to control us better? And if they aren't demons, let's say they are entities not from this world, what are they trying to learn from us? Are they trying to measure how much they can scare us? Because they really haven't done anything to seriously scare us under this research at the ranch. But are those times coming? Good question. Sorry to say I was pretty bored with this show. I don't hold it against the guys. I don't want them fabricating things. If they don't have a lot exciting happening during a week, I don't blame them. But I do wish sometimes that they would bring in new blood with new ideas, even if they don't show those ideas or those people on screen. At least go out and sometimes admit that, hey, they're at this dead end and they need to break through with something new and different. One thing I wish that this show would do is maybe at the end of every season, have somebody come on as a moderator. like me, and say, hey, we watched the shows all year. You guys did a great job. But we have some questions. And being a member of the audience, let's ask some questions. And then before the show goes on, let's screen the questions that the audience wants to bring in and let them get them answered. It would offer the audience one-on-one time, and you would feel more connected to the people at the ranch. Now, them going to Phenomicon, which I'm at, that does give people a chance to meet them. Now, unfortunately, I just got the schedule, and I'm not doing anything with anyone from Skinwalker Ranch. They have a panel. I'm not even on it. It's okay. I can't do anything about it. They, like I've said before, I'm really a nothing in their world, and that's fine. I understand completely. They're doing fantastic things. I'm just an observer from the outside, and I get it. But the presentations I'm going to do for you at Phenomicon will blow your socks off. So thank you very much for coming and watching this review of Skinwalker Ranch. And I want you to be safe, be kind. It costs you nothing to be kind. This is the kindness revolution. Paulides out.